Welcome, adventurers, to D&D Tyranny of Dragons, Session 51, Revenge and Retribution.
I'm back.
You guys ready?
I think so.
Alright, let's do it.
Alright, so brief recap of last session. This was a bit of a shorter session compared to our normal ones. So, last week, or a couple weeks ago, y'all were still within Zonthal's tower. You had finished exploring through it, clearing all of the tower itself, as well as the dungeon level down below it. You seem to have cleared out all of the cultists, the cults of the dragon within it, and decided that you were going to rest your weary wounds and weary bodies for a bit of time before setting back into the village and then heading back towards Waterdeep via the teleportation circle that Macath the Crimson had brought you through. During your rest, however, something untoward kept happening. Some of you kept hearing this rumbling sound that seemed to be coming from far away, and as the rest went on and the night continued, it grew steadily louder, but you couldn't discern what exactly was causing it. When you finally exited the tower, moving back up from the dungeon up to the tower level and then back out using the last symbol through the teleportation machination that was put into this place, you found yourself standing back out next to the sundial that you'd seen while going through the maze in front of Zonthal's tower. Something wasn't right. Immediately, everyone felt something off, and you heard this voice, this deep, guttural voice that could only belong to something as large as a dragon, spoke to you, claiming that you had one last chance to come out before he killed the rest of them in the village. A few of you were able to realize that this dragon's voice, seemed familiar to you. It took you a few moments to realize why. You had heard it once before, back when you all had first adventured together back in the town of Greenest. There was a blue dragon named Linethon that was present there attacking the town alongside the cult. You didn't face Linethon back then, but you knew his name and his voice. Maximilian responded to him, and you took off running to try to save what was left of the villagers. As you moved in out of the illusions around the maze, the hedge maze around Zonthal's tower, you saw that the town, also called Zonthal's Tower, laid in ruin. It was nigh completely destroyed. Buildings toppled over, everything either on fire or destroyed. Bunch of people dead, unfortunately. It seemed that the rumbling you were hearing was probably this dragon going about its work. But you did see this dragon, Linethon, before you, and you attacked him. The fight was somewhat difficult. Linethon, being a bit more intelligent than some of the dragons you fought, kept into the air, limiting a few of you to what you could actually do while fighting him. But with some clever uses of Dimension Door and a couple of the people of the party having wings to even the odds a bit, you were able to take Linethon down. But something happened that had never happened while you fought and slayed a dragon before. Linethon rose back up, but you saw that his flesh, his muscle and such, just sloughed off his bones, and all that remained were his bones as he rose as a Draco Lich. It seemed a pact had been made to cause him to turn into one upon his death. He attacked indiscriminately. You had all the feeling that if allies of his had been nearby, he would have attacked them too, the price he paid for this transformation. But you continued your fight, the paladins in the party going a bit wild with the prospect of this powerful undead before them. Ultimately, you were able to slay Linethon completely, even in his Draco Lich form. As the fight concluded, however, Linethon's body falling and kind of falling to pieces, his bones now crumbling as well as his flesh, something unfortunate happened. As Ignalia looked on upon the carnage here, the mask, this blue dragon mask that y'all had obtained here at Zonthal's Tower, split in two, a deep crack setting between it and then falling to two pieces to the ground. And that is where we're going to start the session for the evening. So, you're still here in the village of Zonthal's Tower. As you look around, you see that it's eerily quiet now. You still hear the crackle of flames from some of the fires still burning, probably burning out soon due to the wetness of this area being alongside this mountain, but you hear no people. You see no people aside from those that lay dead around you. It seems that Lenathon went about his work and finished it before you arrived, unfortunately. What do you want to do?
After rage subsides, Stone Skull's immediately going to look around the village and see how he can help. Try to free people that are trapped under rubble, whatever.
Yeah, once again, as you're moving around, you've seen places where battle has happened before in places like Greenest and such. You're listening for any cries of help or anything and not hearing any.
I want to go taking Lenathal's head off. We need to make sure that there's no more surprises coming from him. But just kind of looking around in awe. All of this to kill us. We need to make sure that the bodies are laid to rest, and we need to reach out to Magath. Make sure we can get the teleportation circle open and take at least the parts of the mask that we have back. Who's that? Is it Scott or Ignali? Had the sending stone?
Yeah, I've got the sending stone. I think her only appropriate reaction is going to be to look down at the split mask, scream at the top of of her lungs, and throw her sword at the body of the Draco Lich.
Right. Well,
Like,
it never hurts to have a witness to this too.
no. I don't actually know what you mean by that.
No, just to, the atrocities of the cult. Spread word. If it's not evident enough, they're reaching now to lower levels.
Oh, for sure.
Looking to slay entire towns of innocent people just to get to us.
You think?
I think
Or to get to the mask.
She's just going to toss the sword, which she's always been very protective of, and she's just going to throw it very, irregardlessly, just into the pile of bones.
So we're responsible for this then?
No, we're not responsible, nor are we at fault. And this mask is important to them, to that extent, where they're willing to slaughter an entire village to get it, which means it's doubly important for us to make sure they never lay their hands on it. If they do get it back, then these people will have died for nothing.
All right. So, going around the town trying to help lay bodies to waste and everything, it's probably going to take you a little bit of town.
Oh, I'm not looking to lay waste.
Or lay him to rest. Sorry,
rest. That's a key differentiation there.
Sorry, I just went to lay certain people to waste and just slipped out a little bit.
One cremation.
Yeah, so laying the bodies of the town folks here of Xonthal's Tower to waste will take a few hours to do so. Gathering them up and either cremating or digging holes will obviously take some time.
Oh, we have Tara. I imagine she can help pretty quick.
Yeah, she'd make it a lot quicker. So yeah.
We want to take it to a point somewhere in town and put together like a makeshift graveyard.
Okay.
We'll go with Max, along with Mr. Pebbles.
Yeah, I think Mr. Pebbles is going to have to do some heavy lifting here.
All right. Anything else anybody would like to do during this time?
No. that's literally all Stone Skull's gonna do is just like hope there's somebody. Like he's gonna dig through rubble, do whatever he can, just try to find anything.
Okay.
I'm gonna Rogar, see if there's anything of note, and I'd kind of point to the skeleton laying on top of the fleshy mound. And if there's anything of note, maybe.
All right, I'll go take a look.
Okay. All right. So as a few of you go out after Ignalia's outburst of frustration with the mask being broken, this dragon laying dead at y'all's feet, a few of you go out throughout the town. It's not a very large one. It was just kind of settled on the outskirts of the tower itself. Maybe only 100, maybe 150 people total. As you're going through, Tara, Stone Skull, investigating closely. Tara using her tremor sense to reach out for any people. Feel none, unfortunately. It seems that Lenithon was thorough, and the ones that hopefully escaped were the only ones that survived. Unless everyone in this town seems to be slain. Takes you a bit of time to gather up the bodies, removing some of the rubble through some that Tara is able to feel through her tremor sense once again under the rubble. Well, after you gather them up, some 40 or 50 people or so, you're able to gather them up into the middle of town, where Tara begins setting up mounds and such, beside a couple of completely destroyed buildings. And you're able to lay the townsfolk of Zonthal's Tower to rest. Rogar, as you're searching the body, you see there's nothing left. You see even the scales and the wings and such of Lenithon have turned to ichor for the most part, just this slimy sinew and flesh that is molded together in his undead form. You see his scales are a bit soft to the touch now, nothing like the other scales you've encountered on dragons you've slain. It seems the transformation has changed his body almost completely. He took over and became undead. But a few hours pass as this process goes through. You're able to lay all the townsfolk to rest, finishing up with that gruesome task and preparing to set off, I assume.
Yeah, once we contact our friendly neighborhood wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once we contact Magath, and set her on our way. But yeah, Nolly,
I just toss Max the sending stone.
I'm gonna kind of hold it up, out in front, like speaking to it, and activate the magic in it. Say, Magath, our job is done, but there's more questions than answers. Meet us at once.
You use this. Yeah, as you use the sending stone, speaking into it, you can feel the magic taking your words and communicating them to the other side, to the paired stone of this pairing of sending stones. A few minutes go by, and as you kind of look around, not sure if it worked or not, you hear this kind of echoed, hollowed form of Makat's voice answering. It says, very well. I will prepare the circles shortly. Do you require any healing? Any priests that I need to bring along? No, you won't be able to answer. I'll just bring some along anyway. And then the words cut off.
Yeah, I'll mention to the rest of the group that Magath is coming. If there's nothing else here, we should prepare to head back to Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Take a nap.
I mean, Magath will
There'll be plenty of time to
before
rest in
long,
Waterdeep.
Yeah, we'll be back in Waterdeep before long.
I'm sure they're going to have questions and we'll have answers after a spell.
All right. So as you gather up your things and such, after communicating with Macath, you set off back out of Zonthal, leaving Zonthal's tower, the village, and the tower itself behind, heading back to the north. It took you about half a day's journey to get back, or to get here originally, from just north of the town of Lork. As you move off, it's still early morning, just before afternoon, after concluding burial and such. You set off, knowing it'll probably be heading towards dusk by the time you get there. You set off, it's somewhat chilly, just as it was when you were coming down this way, but you collect yourselves and move on, heading up towards this circle where Macath brought you originally. After about 5 hours or so, you find yourself in sight of the small village that you crossed through originally, the one path being the main street through it called Lork. As you get closer, you see there seems to be more people here compared to the last time you came here. As you're looking around, moving your way into Lork itself, you see that there are several people that look like they've been wounded recently. You see bandages on a few people here and there, kind of talking with some of the, you assume, locals. Kind of draw that more than likely these are some of the survivors from Zonthal's tower.
As we're arriving, we look to the rest. Yeah, we need to make it to the tower and let Magath know we still need to leave, but I feel a sense of obligation to stay and assist in any way that we can. Not for over long, but I feel like that's the least we can do for the survivors here. And I guess by that I mean basically myself and Ignalia doling out what healing is available. Or even just myself. Why don't a couple go to the circle, get Magath, I'll stay, and start providing what assistance I can. Let's start looking around for anybody in charge.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's
What's everybody else doing?
Say a medic tent, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Stone Skull can't be of much assistance, but I mean he'll do whatever he can, so he'll stick around with Max for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, Ignalia will kind of go on ahead and try to treat the worse off people so that they can make it to, said tent.
Alright. And Rogar and Tara?
They said they're staying with me.
Yeah, I'll
Silence.
stay with Max. Not really helpful with healing or anything.
My mic wasn't working. Yeah, I'll help Max.
Alright. So, is it Ignalia was going north? You go to the circle?
Yeah.
Or was that Stone Skull? Okay.
Yeah, Ignalia.
Alright.
Those two, I think.
I can go with Ignalia, that's fine.
Alright. Okay.
Bear friend.
So, yeah, Bear Friend. So as Ignalia and Stone Skull and Bear Friend head to the north, leaving Lork, it's not very far, less than an hour's travel to get to where you remember this teleportation circle to be, just off the road here to the north. The rest of you, as you're moving around, you're able to quickly gather details from some of the townsfolk. It seems that once again, just kind of like Zonthal's tower, Lork it's a bit larger than Zonthal's Tower was. Seems to be a mining town. You see a lot of metalworking and stuff like that going on here. As you're looking around, you were able to determine some sort of leadership. Some of the local town militia have been kind of instructing people that came from Zonthal's Tower to group up in a few of the, houses that had extra rooms and such. The one inn is completely filled to capacity with some of the worse off people that you immediately set out to tend to. It doesn't take much for you to heal them. Even just basic medicine checks could pretty much save their lives. A few people, unfortunately, did pass from their wounds before you arrived, as you learn, but a good 100 people or so were able to flee from Zonthal's Tower during the attack of Linnathon and get to Lork somewhat safely. But you tend to some wounds and such, helping out where you can. You're thanked profusely by the locals as well as those in Zonthal's Tower, none of them really realizing who you are. It seems not many paid attention to your arrival in Zonthal's Tower when you first came to seek out the cult there. The three of you, or two of you rather, that went to the north, you travel for about 30 minutes or so, and then find yourself at a familiar kind of shrouded area of forest that you move over into, and inside of it you see several people. As you look around, you see appear to be priests of Lathander standing near this tiefling sorcerer that you've met several times before, Makath the Crimson, standing and waiting by the teleportation circle. As you enter into the area, they all turn around to look at you, Makath kind of nodding and walking forward, and she says, "Well, I'd assumed that you were already at the circle, but I guess that's neither here nor there. We didn't mind waiting. Where's everyone else? Are they all right?"
Ignalia.
I assumed you were going to say. The others are back in town treating to the injured.
She nods and says, I wasn't aware that there were any in Lork that were injured. With that, she turns and kind of nods to the two priests that you see there, and they start walking down the pathway out of the grove area, obviously heading towards Lork to render out healing as well. With that, Makath looks back to you and says, "Well, they can help some, I assume. How did things go?"
I kind of turn around and look at the multitudes of different smoke streams entering the sky from the direction of town. Would you care to...
It's pretty far away.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
I've been traveling for half the day.
I thought you said 30 minutes.
It was 30 minutes from Lork. It was 5 hours from Zonthal's Tower.
I see. Yeah, it went poorly, Makath. Let's just put it that way. Any assistance you could, help us all give would be appreciated.
With that, you see a bit of a troubled look crossing her face as she nods and says, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Were you able to find the mask that was supposedly there?"
We did, and we also, had it attached to my face for some time, and then it split in two and fell off. I don't really much know why, but it coincided with the death of a Dracolich.
That she stares at you for a few moments, kind of a bit of a flabbergasted look on her face, says, well, that would explain why things didn't go so well. I'm glad to see you survived at least. So you're thinking for a moment. Does this make any sense? We haven't heard anything about the masks being connected to any dragons, but do you still have the mask with you?
We do. We have the 2 fragments.
And she nods. Says, excellent. If nothing else, myself and other members of the Brotherhood may be able to at least work out any magic that may have been on it or residue and such. It's unfortunate, but very well. It was a long shot either way, I suppose. That she kind of snaps back and remembers what you were saying. Says, I'm not much for being able to help the wounded and such, but she kind of looks up at the sky that's darkening. Says, I think that we can set off tomorrow morning if we can find somewhere to stay the night in Lork. We can set off tomorrow morning and head back to Waterdeep from there, if that is agreeable to you.
I look at Stone Skull.
Stone Skull's just gonna nod.
Well, let's go with that plan then.
Very well. That, Macath and yourselves head back towards the village of Lork. As you get back, about an hour after you departed, you see that some of the people are still around, but a lot of people seem to have been heading off as darkness is now beginning to set over the land here next to the Grey Peak Mountains. Those of you that were tending with the wounded are able to do a good deal within the hour or so that your friends are gone, retrieving Macath. Just before the rest of them arrive back in the village, you see these 2 priests of Lathander that move into the inn where the most badly injured are, and help them out as well. And you see them moving back out into the town and helping those that were still slightly injured. It seems that there was a good job done by them at the very least, as well as yourselves. Anything y'all would like to do in Lork, or just find accommodations and sleep?
I have our accommodations covered. We don't need to take up any space for the wounded. Once we're all kind of back together, greeting the calf and clerics, letting you go back to work. So do we let them know? Do we tell the people that their village is clear? That, they can go back and start rebuilding some semblance of their lives?
We definitely should.
I feel the same. I want to just find a town square or something of the like, where I could be seen by most, kind of clear my throat and make an announcement, say those that have fled from Xonthal's tower, now you may return home. We found the dragon that destroyed your village and decimated your lives, and we have ended his reign of terror.
You make this announcement out. You see there's still quite a few people around. Everybody kind of stops as you raise your voice to address everyone. They listen as you talk about Linnathon and him being slain and such, and you see a few people looking around at each other, and you notice the same kind of look in a lot of different faces. Several look normal and just kind of nod in approval and such, but a lot of others you see this kind of blank look. Not quite despair-ridden, but it's just numb, I suppose. You can definitely recognize these are probably the ones that fled from Xonthal's tower. You see them nodding and understanding what you said, and a couple of them even come over and kind of shake your hand, clap you on the back, thank you for ridding Xonthal's tower of the dragon. But all of them seem to just, once again be in this stupor a bit, this daze.
We are, I want to announce, we are the scales of justice. We are here to bring balance back to the world that, the dragon and their cult, have wrought to the Sword Coast. Should you need us, Waterdeep is our home. Please, we're here to help in any way that we can. And with that, start making my way back to the group. So let's make our way towards on the edge of town. Should more people come looking for us, or more cultists come looking for us, hopefully we won't attract attention in the middle of town.
All right. So as you all group back up, after this being done, you're able to, not wanting, you said you didn't want to worry about going to the inn or anything, just find somewhere else to rest.
Well, I have that.
Oh, okay. All right. So if that's your plan, probably head like outside of town, right?
Yeah, just on the outskirts. We can still easily respond to something that happens in the city should it happen.
All right. Anybody else have anything you want to do in the town of Lork before heading to the outskirts?
Nope, nothing for me.
Alrighty. So with that, addressing the townspeople, you see nobody seems in a hurry to head back towards Zonthal's tower. You see a few people going up and climbing into barns and such, and some you see in one of the forges and such, there's people kind of laying under the roof there, at least having some cover from the elements. But with that, you set off out of the town, heading up a bit to the north, kind of in between Lork and the grove where the teleportation circle is. You see McCath kind of nodding to all of you as you leave. She says she'll stay behind to assist however she can, as she's well rested and can do so. And with that, you head out to the outskirts, Max casting this tiny hut spell that causes this illusory dome, this dome of force to spring around all of you. As you all sit down into it, you're able to see around you, even though you can definitely tell through the shimmer of arcane energy that there is definitely something surrounding you, though you can definitely see out of it, as long as all of you are within it. It gets a bit quieter, if I remember correctly.
Sound doesn't pass from inside out, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember the rules on the sound.
It just says dry. Interior is dimly lit. It's opaque on the outside. Any color you choose.
So yeah, as you get inside, it becomes comfortably a bit warmer than the exterior was. It was still this brisk kind of cold outside of the hut, but as you have this dome of force go around you, it warms up a bit to a more comfortable level, and you're all able to start your rest. You can have watches and such, but we're not going to go ahead and worry about establishing an order or anything. As you're going to go,
we don't have to worry about watches.
Yeah,
Is it? No, nobody can get into it.
Yeah.
But Bearfriend won't be able to fit inside.
Or Mr. Pebbles.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
Yeah. So they'll be watching for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so with your animated construct as well as Bearfriend outside keeping watch, you all lay down to rest for the evening and are able to get a good long rest in. Getting all the benefits of it, as well as leveling up to level 13.
Yay.
Yay!
Add a character.
Go through and start moving your stuff around. I'm going to step away for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Stone Skull.
Time to roll for some hit points, huh?
Keeps getting dangerous.
Ugh. Boo.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Okay. That's all I get though. No spells, just that. I get some HP. I get a hit die. I get fighters 10, so 6 plus that's 11. So 49. Wow. Wow. That's a lot of hit points. Them's a lot of hit points, guys. Yeah. Yep. 4 levels barbarian, 9 levels fighter.
Those rolls, though.
And that is why I'm taking average.
Oh wait,
what you're
those are
talking
ones. Max and Rogar, y'all can reroll. Reroll ones.
Oh, nice. Down with that.
Just once. So if you roll one again, sorry, but
They can't get any worse.
yeah.
Increase.
It puts me at a solid 120, though.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
They got
Do
better.
I get to re-roll mine?
Yeah.
Nope,
Uh-huh.
Yep.
not you. You're blind. It's the thing. Sorry.
Oh
Uh,
god.
Wow.
Did
Hey
y'all
guys,
you'll
I
just
feel my
break
nat
roll
20 is
for me?
coming on. Please keep it up.
Suddenly Stone Skull is the smartest man in the room. Taking average.
Wowee. Those are
I don't
some
know what you're talking
unfortunate
about, man.
HP rolls except for Ignalia.
Well, I might hit 100 HP by level 13, yo.
Dude,
Or
I
level
hit
14.
8. Like, I rolled 7s or 8s for like the first 7 levels. Like, I'm all right. I feel like I'm ahead of the curve. Oh, hey, I learned another cantrip, too.
Is a big oof. I'm on pizza while y'all level up, so just let me know when y'all are starting to get done.
Done.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Also done.
I'm almost done.
No rush, I still got 2 pieces of pizza left.
Oh, I'm ready to fight stuff. Let's go.
Get Tiamat real quick.
Surprise Tiamat
Scott,
fight. Here
check
we
your
go.
messenger.
I don't see anything, Zorn. I see something, Zorn.
One point off of 150. One point. Don't forget to update your D&D Beyond as well, please. Please and thank you. Okay, I'm all set.
Oh, neat. There's a tornado near Amarillo. Neat.
I bet you all those truck drivers are shooting guns at it.
Probably.
Man,
What I do when one gets near.
I have like This character is something else. This is probably my most maxed out character I've ever played. He's at 20 strength and 20 con. And I really want to get a belt of giant strength for him. I'm searching for one from Arcanor, but I really want to find one for him. Because I don't think I have much attuned. Yeah, I have a ring of protection. I definitely want to find something. That would be perfect. What are you talking about? Especially in like 2 levels when I get my third extra or second extra attack. It would be fantastic. Just like looking at this, it's like, holy crap, it could be like even like a 22 having that extra +1. Yeah. Definitely not bad.
How's it coming?
Well, I'm good.
I'm gonna end up making
For magical secrets, I picked Bestow Curse and Raise Dead.
Gonna end up making a
Interesting.
Dragon become my mount by the end of this thing.
Pizza, we'll get started again.
I need to increase my dex so I can get my armor
Yeah,
class up to 20.
snag Raise Dead. Because we're making it to the end of this thing.
Great dead.
Us
What is
intact.
Is that the one that brings you back at 1 HP?
No. No. That's Reanimate. Raise Dead is turn a dead creature back to life. Within 10 days.
It comes back. Yeah, it comes back with 1 hit point though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Really, all
yeah.
you just said is that he
No,
has
it's-
to kill you first.
Right? Come on.
But I'm
Because
here.
it was another one. It was Reanimate was the other one, but that one, like you're a zombie or
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
turned into zombies. Yeah. Alrighty. All right. So as you wipe the grease off your face, waking up the next morning as this Maximilian being able to tell his spells, being to get to the end of its expectancy, you all wake up feeling more experienced after this bit of a somber encounter with Linnathon, as well as what happened at Zonthal's Tower. Being able to reclaim a dragon mask of the cult, only to have it shatter while in your possession. Not sure why, but figure that's something that the Arcane Brotherhood that now counts themselves among the Council of Waterdeep may be able to assist with. So as everybody prepares, the tiny hut falling away around you, you start to head back to the north towards the grove where the teleportation circle is. As you arrive, you see Makath as well as the priests are already there waiting on you. Everyone, all 3 of them look a bit tired. They were probably up all evening, assisting those they could in the town. But as you arrive into the grove, they all stand up and greet you. Makath kind of looks through everybody, nodding to each of you and says, well, if everybody's ready, then I'll go ahead and take us back to Waterdeep.
Kind of, gather the group and get on in the circle and say we should leave as soon as possible.
I do it.
Very well. So as you all gather up on top of these stones that are kind of set up in this pattern that you recognize as runes and glyphs for this teleportation circle, you all gather inside of it, and Makath begins to close her eyes and chant as she activates this teleportation circle. Just a few moments pass, and then this whirring sensation goes through your minds as white light fills your eyes, and you can feel yourself just this uneasy, odd sensation of being ripped through space. Though you know you've traveled a long way, only a few moments seem to have passed in your mind as you find yourself standing in a dark room that looks pretty familiar. As you look around, you see other circles in the stone floor around you as you look at the walls and ceiling, all made of this dark, grayish stone. You see several teleportation circles are in this room, none others being used, and you see there's a lone guard at the doorway to this room, standing guard that turns around to look all of you as you teleport in. He kind of nods to you as you step out of the teleportation circle. That Macath kind of moves in front of the group, looking over towards Ignalia. Says, if you don't mind, I would like to go ahead and take the mask now so we can begin to study it, if that is possible.
I don't have any objections if no one else does.
Nope, I'm good.
It's not to, be a Debbie Downer, but I do believe that, or at least I'd like to keep it in our possession until we meet with the council. It's a burden that you shouldn't have to bear by yourself. It's brought nothing but chaos and death.
That Macath thinks for a moment and kind of shrugs, says, very well, I can understand that reasoning. Until after then, I think more than likely news of your return will begin spreading, so I imagine another meeting may be called soon. She kind of thinks for a moment and says, yes, don't freak out when you go outside. It's fine. It's been handled already. With that, she kind of nods and turns to the guard and kind of instructs him to take you back up to the surface. And then Macath bids you all farewell and takes off kind of hurriedly.
I don't want to know what she means by that.
What
So
are you
after she
talking about?
leaves,
It's already been taken care of. It's nothing to worry about.
That's what someone says when something is not okay. Yeah, definitely want to hurry.
Fine, let's see what it is.
Alright, so as you all head, following this guard who nods to you all, saying to come with him and everything, and you all start moving hurriedly behind him. He picks up his pace, leading you through these, leading through these, tight corridors and such, as he leads you up several flights of stairs that that are leading you back to the surface. After about 15 or 20 minutes of travel, you find yourselves moving up to now familiar, bit more ornate-looking hallways instead of the stone-lined ones that you've been traveling through. And you find yourselves moving towards this back area of Waterdeep Palace. As you move out, everybody but Terra immediately notices something. It's very obvious. There is, floating above the city, a huge, almost citadel of ice that is extremely familiar to all of you.
Yeah. What's up, Giants?
Recognize the
All hail, right?
fortress that
Blagothgus?
Blagothgus?
Was
Yeah.
it?
King Blagothgus. All
Yes,
hail
yes,
Blagothgus.
Yes, as you move out, you can clearly see the floating fortress belonging to the giants that you had seemingly let them take back, with the promise that they would join in for the fight against the cult. Though they had not been present since you returned back to Waterdeep after that fateful encounter within the fortress, fighting off the white dragon that had a small horde within it. You see that they have returned, and though people occasionally, as you're looking around and moving back into the city proper, definitely are looking up and noticing this, it's definitely a recent arrival within the last day or so since you've been gone. People don't seem to be really freaking out about it here in Waterdeep. So, with that, you are set loose in the city. What do y'all want to do?
First thing I want to do is send a message to the council. Let them know that I'm sure they are aware, but in order to set up a meeting to get everyone together. By the palace, I mean they have a couple heralds or knights or something like that around, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Send somebody off on a message saying, gather the council members. Let them know the scales are returned with word, and with what they seek or what they sought. We'll be at our guild hall. Things need to move quickly. So, hustle, kind of give them a bit of a shove. Go.
All right.
And then look to the rest of the group. Should we go reintroduce ourselves to Blagoscus?
Blagoscus is here? Let's go.
I've got a couple of things to pick up, but then I'll be ready.
Said it'll be an uncomfortable journey there, but I can get us there.
Don't worry, I'll close my eyes.
And you're not. It's good because you won't feel anything for a moment except wind. The castle that we were in is above water deep.
It's usually above things.
That's accurate. How far in the sky is it, just out of curiosity?
A few hundred feet. It's pretty far up there. It's definitely not in a way that you could walk to it.
Right. I was wondering, one, like dimension door, if I gotta fly. 500 feet's a bit, but that's not very high.
Yeah, it's at least 300 feet up above the city itself, kind of hovering down above the Castle of Waterdeep. Castle Waterdeep, rather. To your southeast is kind of where the center of it is. Alright, so Maximilian seems to want to go up there to carrying Terra. What's everybody else doing?
Stone Skull is going to go to the weaponsmith and gather the dragon's teeth daggers.
Oh, nice.
Before Terra and Max
club
take off.
daggers.
Mm-hmm.
Before Terra and Max take off, she's going to send Mr. Pebbles to wait at the guild hall, which should be quite hilarious for the town to just see a golem walking through the town by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Have him take Bear Friend.
Yeah, have it accompany Bear Friend back to the house.
Yeah, that's what they'll do.
Like
They'll
on
escort him.
a leash. A golem walking a giant armored bear. Nothing to see here.
So yeah, stopping at the armorsmith, picking up the daggers, and Stone Skull would like to go and see the elf lady that made his cloak. I don't remember her name. Anybody else remember the... Oh, hold on, let me look. Maybe I do have it here. No, I don't.
For who?
The elf lady that made Stone Skull's cloak. It might be Nanda.
I'm not sure.
She seemed like she was kind of fawning over Stone Skull while he was there.
Oh, and the truth comes out. I don't know why you want to go back.
She's a good craftsman. He needs something else made.
Well, the only tailor I have listed is Nanda.
Okay, then it was Nanda. He's going to, after he picks up the daggers, because he's already paid for the daggers. He just has to wait for them or pick them up.
I want to, before we go up, I want to go to the armorsmith as well. I want to commission something.
Okay.
So he's going to go to the tailor, and I sent you a DM of what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And just let me know how much.
Alrighty. Ignalia, Rogar, Terra, anything y'all would like to do in the city?
I mean, I'll be with Max, but on the way back, we'll probably stop by some potion dealers.
No, yeah. My thought is, as bad as the cult seems to want this mask, we need to gear up because it could be any moment that they're coming for it.
All right. Ignalia Rogar?
I want to, even though I don't think I'll find him, stop by the bar again, looking for Crazy Warlock, aka not Bahamut.
Okay.
And then go to that magic items shop with the crazy ass ring.
Just hoping you forgot about that.
No, sir.
Right. Shit, I don't have this prepared. Alright, that's fine. I can work on that while you are doing other things. Alright, so... Trying to find something very specific, and Roll20 is not helping me out on this, and I'm sad about it. But why? Do you remember the shop in particular, Ignalia?
Somewhere
I don't
in
know
my
if I wrote
notes,
it down.
maybe.
Thought I was doing good at keeping all these down, but now that I'm going back and looking, I'm not seeing them, so... I wonder if I put it in recap notes because I'm stupid. Because that seems like something I would do.
I mean, it's fair.
Okay.
Pretty sure I still can't afford it either, so...
It was very expensive. Tens of thousands of gold. Alright, so let's just start at the beginning here. So Stone Skull, you head out into the city, finding the forge that you stopped by before, where you had left several dragon's teeth, with instructions to try to make them into good quality daggers with this symbol in them. You see that the forger has done a decent job out of the 12 teeth that you left him. 6 of which are these kind of very ornate looking daggers that are actually dragon tooth daggers. But not magical or anything like that. But they're, once again, the tooth itself is very recognizable, but it's kind of chiseled away in parts and such, and there's this purple-esque kind of cloth around it for a grip on it. 3 of the teeth were lost in there, and then 3 were turned into kind of makeshift, less ornate daggers. So in total, you'll have 9 daggers.
So like 3 of
6
them
of
would
which
be
are a bit
like
more.
throwing knife quality daggers.
Yeah, much smaller though, and the other ones are kind of big.
Yeah. Cool. I'll wrap them up in whatever cloth he's got them like satcheled into, and I paid him pretty well, if I'm not mistaken.
You overpaid him
really well. Yeah, and then head over to the tailor.
Okay. As you go to visit Nanda, you see that she is still her very bubbly self, very excited to see you as you walk in. She greets you by name, saying, Stone Skull, it's very good to see you again. Please come in. I see you're not wearing the accoutrements I gave you last time, but that must mean you want more. What are you looking for?
I have a very specific request. He's gonna look around. Does he see any dark red or maroon colored fabric or like leather or anything that's been dyed to like a maroon color?
As you're looking around Nanda's shop, you see that she has a lot of the way it's like separated around, you see there's kind of it's all color coordinated.
Right.
So you see hues of blues and pants and tunics and dresses and such, and then it shifts over to greens and then yellows, and then you see a corner kind of with a bunch of reds on it. So yeah, you see a bunch of different stuff that way.
Okay. Stone Skull will look over for some of it, and he'll find the kind of maroon color similar to the guild logo and kind of pull it out and say, I want this like my other one, but etched around the edge in gold. I want it trimmed, and the logo. And he'll pull out the drawing of the logo from the guild hall. He'll say, just embroidered in the neckline, and just kind of hold it out to her and say, tell me how much you want for this.
That Nanda kind of starts taking notes as you describe everything, going through and noticing it in there, or noting in the design and drawing it down, kind of sketching it out onto the parchment. And with that, she nods and says, that should be very doable. It won't take me too long. Maybe just the rest of the day or so I can work on it. Post-haste for a hero of Waterdeep, of course. Let's see, as far as cost, it's not that big of a job. 4 gold pieces, I think, would cover it.
Stone Skull will reach down to his coin purse, pull out 10 gold pieces, and hand it to her and say, I appreciate the work you always do for us. I'll be back whenever you say it's ready.
All right. So with that, she nods, thanking you for the extra money, for the tip and everything. She says, yes, just come back. Yeah, very sizable. She says, yes, just come back tomorrow morning and I will have it ready for you one way or another.
And he kind of nods and bows his head respectfully towards her before he turns and heads to go, I guess, look for Max and the others who were accompanying him around.
Okay. All right, so I'll just go through everybody here as you're doing stuff. So yeah, as we pan the camera over to Ignalia, what are you searching out exactly?
I was starting by searching out, well, forget the name of it, the same bar that keeps being, spatially abused by Bahamut.
Okay. Alright, so as you head over to... did I mark this? Yes, I did. As you head down to the dock ward, heading over to where you know this shop to be, as you get closer to it, you can tell from quite a distance away, even through all the drones of people around you and such as you move through the streets of Waterdeep. As you head down this kind of side street, that's still pretty busy here during the day. You look around, you can definitely tell that the very noteworthy tree that you've always seen on
Vlagan's doors.
Vlagan, yes. Vlagan's doors, or the front of his shop, is not there. You see what appears to be a barred and shut, closed down shop that you've seen before.
Okay. It looks... When you say closed down, you mean like he's just not open for business, or it looks like shut down?
It looks shut down, yes.
Kind of just whisper, I was hoping at least, to get a drink out of this. Then shrug and basically wander the city to see if I can remember where that other shop was.
Okay. Let's see. I have no idea what this is.
She does not remember exactly, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's truthful, right? Nor does the universe, apparently.
Never happened. It was a collective memory.
It's just a figment of your imagination. God, I don't even remember where that ring was. Yeah, because I remember that now, because it was...
something you sent me at one point.
Yeah, it was in the... I gave y'all 2 shops, and one shop was normal items, the other one was out of the book that I got. You remember the name of the ring?
Oh, Something sun.
Search this document for keywords, but that's neat.
Here, why don't why don't you do the others and I'll go looking real quick.
All right, that'll work. All right, so Ignalia goes to search out the shop that she was at previously at some point in time. Rogar, anything specific you're looking around for in town?
I don't think so.
All right, so just chilling and heading back home, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll catch up with what you see when you get home then in a minute. Stone Skull we've already done. He's gotten a cloak ordered as well as his daggers. And Terra. Oh, wait, sorry, Max. I skipped over you.
Yeah, I want to go to the armor smith, the smith that forged our weapons. One of the dropped off goods.
Right.
And I want to have the Scales logo embroidered on not only my armor, but I want to leave my armor behind with him to color it maroon.
All right, so get it maroon colored and then get the Scales logo embedded into it, like on the chest plate, I'd imagine.
Into the chest plate, into the front of my shield.
Okay.
Hilt of the sword, and I want a helmet commissioned specifically for like my dragonborn head. And on the front plate, like where it comes over the head, I want it like smack in the middle.
All right. So you go visit this dwarf armor and weaponsmith that you've talked to several times, and you see that he's pretty busy, as he always seems to be, especially after working on those fine goods that you use as weapons now. He takes your order and such, writing down notes and everything, and after the helmet, he kind of looks at your head and turns around, and you see him rummaging around in a pile of like wood and stuff, or tools rather, and you see him pulling out this kind of wooden contraption that seems to like shrink down with the screw for tightening and such, and he kind of sets it on the sides of your head, and he seems to be using it to take measurements very archaically around your head and such, and he goes around kind of noting all the different features of your head and such, and it's like, okay, that'll work out for us. After getting all the measurements and everything and all of the instructions, he nods. He says, I have a few helmets that I can just resize, repurpose for this already. It won't be anything spectacular, but it will fit the aesthetic if nothing else. Takes your armor.
Yeah, have his help, taking it off and leaving shield and the antagonist behind. I'm gonna be naked. But tell him, I need this completed by the morning.
That it being early morning still at this point, he nods, says, I'm not having to craft anything brand new, so I'll put everything else on hold for the time being, and I'll have it done. First thing as dawn breaks tomorrow, it'll be ready for you.
Let me know tomorrow whatever the cost was, and I'll make sure you're reimbursed in full.
As you're saying that, he's already looking through some helmets and stuff and kind of waves you off. Says, yes. See you in the morning.
Man, imagine Max with no armor, shield, or weapon, really, of any kind. Just a pack.
Just a tunic and a pack, yep.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you're seeking out here?
No. No. I'm gonna kind of catch up with the group as we, kind of make our way back to the guild hall.
Okay.
The Hall of Justice.
The Hall of Justice. All right. Terra, anything you are seeking out?
Potions.
Potions. Okay.
Just gonna check and see what they got going on.
All right. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Do this right. There we go. All right. Roll me 3d20s.
3d20s.
Bad news, Havoc. I found it.
Shit. All right. 1, 5, and a 5. All right. All right. So as you make your way into the shop called Portable Potents, you see that it's a kind of a mixture between a magic shop as well as an apothecary. They have a bunch of different potions and such into it, as well as a lot of components, spell ingredients, things of that nature within it. As you're looking around, you see a couple of glass cases that have a bunch of different potions into it. You do recognize, kind of down at eye level, there's a bunch of these red potions that you clearly recognize as potions of healing. You see a small kind of elderly man standing behind the counter as you walk in. He says, yes, dear. What's going to help you with today?
Yeah, it's just, do you have any potions that will help my friends not burn or be really cold or anything like that?
That he thinks for a moment, says, I have some things maybe like that. Daddy looks through, walks over kind of shakily over to his, one of the little, glass doors and opens it up and starts looking through. Yes, I have something like that. Where is it? Yes, here it is. Yes, I have... I have 3 of those that help with that. No burning or cold, though. Just some made for... it looks like he holds up one that's got kind of this green tenure to it and kind of... coloration to it, rather. Says, this one helps with acid, and this one with any kind of holy power. Hopefully that's not being used on you. And this one here... makes sense, so I'm going to change it. This one here will block the opposite of the holy, this necrotic damage.
And how much for all 3 of them?
With that, he... Oh, that's funny, I was already on the item. He says, these aren't terribly hard to get a hold of, but I can't make them myself. They will cost an amount of gold not to exceed...
Is this guy from Monty Python?
Yes.
Must buy time.
Try to script. I didn't have the DMG open yet.
4 gold is correct until you get to 5. One should not exceed 5 gold.
It will not
And
exceed...
6 is right out of the question.
6 gold is right out.
6 is right out. He says, 400 gold each.
Well, let me at least get the acid one. I will give him 400 gold.
Tara's dropping acid.
Yeah, so you have a potion of resistance to acid.
Alright. And I'll just bid him good day. And that is it.
Okay, so with that, he waves to you and says, "Oh, good, have a good day, dear. Bye." And you all are heading back home? What's the plan now? Are you going up to the tower? Or...
Yeah, I have to go find Max.
All right.
I think the plan is probably to regroup at the house and then go from there. Since some people went back to the house and others didn't.
All right, so we flip back real quickly as everyone else is heading back to the guild hall, up to the northeastern part of Waterdeep. We flip back to the camera back towards Rogar, who didn't really have anything to do, so he just decided to head back. Rogar, as you moved to the guild hall, you saw that something was a bit off. You couldn't really decide what it was until you noticed that the bustling city and such seemed to get louder as you got closer to the guild hall. And as you get even closer still, you see parked out in front and all along the street of the guild hall are all of these wagons and chariots. A lot of them very ornate looking. Kind of think it's odd for them to be parked on your street, but don't think too much about it until you notice that the sound, this growing, fervor of people and such, is getting louder because you're getting closer to your home. And you notice the sound is coming from the guild hall. It's not screaming or anything like that, it's just a raucous, like you would expect to be heard from like a tavern. You walk into the guild hall through the front underneath the spanning wings of the black dragon that you used to ornately decorate this place. Walking through, and you can tell that there is a huge amount of noise, people coming from the back area where you have the small tavern. As you walk through and move into it, walking through the open doorway, you see every table is completely full of people. You see a couple of people you don't recognize that are running around delivering drinks out and pulling some food out. And then you see the man you left in charge here. Mr. Joe Gath is standing behind the bar taking orders and such, and catches sight of you as you walk through the other door instead of through the side entrance where you would expect other people to go through. And he looks over towards you all and says, good to see you. We're kind of busy. Sorry about the noise. Yeah, so I've been doing things while you were gone. I hope that's okay. And then he turns around, it's like one man sitting over the counter kind of yelling at him for a drink. He turns around and says, one second, sir. And turns around and goes to serve a drink. You stand there in a bit of confusion, a bit of awe, as everyone else begins to arrive back at the guild hall. As you all arrive back, one after another, moving into the guild hall, you notice the same thing that Rogar did. There's only a few tokens on here, but imagine this place is standing room only. It's pressing towards noon at this point, but you see that there is a lot of business in this little tavern area of your guild hall. You're able to see that apparently you have some other employees, as you see two, not barmaids, but the equivalent of that in the D&D universe that I can't place the name of. Not witches. That's...
What? I mean...
yes, but...
Just servers.
Servers, yeah.
Serving
wenches.
wenches.
Serving wenches. You see that they've apparently been employed to help out with this place. After sitting around and finding some seats and such, eventually, some people clearing room for you and such, you start to sit down and talk to Joe, who finally gets a break, and he says, well, you see, you left me in charge here, and I figured that, well, you had this perfectly good tavern here that wasn't going to be used while you were off on your adventures, so I started posting flyers and said, the heroes of Waterdeep run this tavern, and, well, people started showing up. And more people. And they didn't stop until I finally had to close it down the first night. Yeah, I went out, got a couple people to come in with the revenue I've gotten, and decided to just turn this into a full-blown tavern. I hope that's all right with you.
Works for me. And immediately just grabs a drink off the bar.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's nice to have somewhere, people feel like they can come and have a good time, especially with us.
Everybody except Tara, give me perception checks.
It's a surprise party. They're gonna sing "Happy Birthday." Run.
Happy Death Day.
Stone Skull is all about the ale right now.
He's eyeballing the tankard. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Stone Skull begins drinking. The rest of you glancing around, just once again, no direction or anything really given to Joe. Just you had told him to fix the place up, make it livable and such, and he's gone above and beyond that, turning into a full-blown business for yourselves. That he seems to be managing as best he can right now, though it seems that it needs to be bigger, if nothing else. However, as you're glancing around the room and all the people, you look over to the bar stool next to Ignalia, and you see a tiefling woman. She's elegant features, I suppose, noble attire and such, and she's sitting quietly by herself, and she seems to be looking at you. Maximilian, as you're looking, you stare a bit longer and you realize you've seen her before. You remember this woman from the last Council of Waterdeep. She was among the council room, one that hadn't been a member before that particular meeting, but one that was seated next to Lord Dagult Neverember, who seemed to be his advisor. As she starts to catch your eyes looking at her, she smiles and nods her head, bowing it a bit, and then kind of slides over next to all of you, standing up and greeting all of you. Says, I do not believe that we have been properly introduced. My name is Rienne Nightshade.
I said, well met, Lady Nightshade. You're correct. We haven't been formally introduced, but I do remember you from being at Lord Neverember's side. What is it that you do for him, and what is it that we can do for you?
This is some good ale. I haven't had.
With that, she once again kind of nods to each of you. Says, well, that's actually why I'm here. I do like what you've done with the place, as she kind of looks around the tavern. But I came to speak with you all, now that you are back from your travels. If you don't mind, at least, I have a proposition for you.
One that you want, a proposition you'd rather share with us in private, and not in view of the council?
With that, she kind of nods and, a bit of an acquiescence in her features. Says, yes, this is something that's ultimately only you can answer me. The council has no say in this, actually.
Well, now you've piqued my interest. Well, what is it you would request of us? Actually, I'm kind of looking around the full bar, so perhaps we should take this to, more private accommodations. And I'll kind of nod back. We've got our store meeting room down here, yeah?
Yeah, you have that meeting room. You have another one upstairs.
Yeah, we'll stay down here. Party's down here.
Okay. With that, she nods. She says, I think that would be agreeable with me and for the best. And with that, she waits for you to lead. You take off through the house, kind of moving down and sitting down around this large six-sided table. And Scott, I haven't forgot about the ring. We'll revisit it. I'm just looking at it again.
Oh, don't worry. I'm just floored by her outfit right now.
It took me a long time to find. I wanted a good picture of a tiefling, so it took me a little bit to find a good one. I like her outfit.
What basic persona does she use? I need to know.
So as you all move into the room, shutting the door behind you, Lady Nightshade sits down and addresses and says, well, I suppose I'll cut right to the chase, though I will be upfront with you, is that I'm not exactly an advisor to Lord Neverember. I actually represent another faction interested in becoming a part of the council. Just one that wasn't really sought out, unfortunately, but it's understandable, given our line of work. I belong to a group of people called the Zentarum, if you've heard of them.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard of the Zent.
That she kind of nods as well. That keeps things simple then. You see, we want to, of course, protect the realm, as losing the realm to this Queen of Dragons would obviously be very bad for business. That being said, my superiors work in a very give-and-take fashion. They would like to be given something for their participation in the council. The council is less than willing to pay the price that we have asked. But we have thought another payment may be adequate, and it's one that the council, as I said before, has no say over. Some interesting rumors have hit my ears based on things that happened off to the east yesterday and the day before. This Zonthos Tower you were sent after. From what I understand, that tower has been conquered and is now unoccupied. Is that correct?
Partially. It has been cleared. But as of now, we are its owners and proprietors.
With that, she nods, says, yes. By the rule of conquest, anyone who conquers an otherwise abandoned place or one owned or occupied by unsavory individuals then has rights to the place and can decide what it will be used for. You see, my superiors have been looking for such a place, such as Xonthal's Tower. And, of course, as I said, give and take, we would be willing to offer you a substantial amount of money for it. And, of course, that would also secure our allegiance with the Council.
Well, I feel as if I should be honest in saying that being a Zent means I do not trust you. You don't follow any code except profit. At least that will always be true. You offer gold in a time when we don't need it. Gold does nothing against the war that we're fighting right now.
With that, she tilts her head to the side and seems to be thinking for a moment. Gold is always useful, not to call you wrong or anything of the sort, but gold could purchase things that could aid you, things that could aid the Council. And I'm not offering a paltry sum. 50,000 gold pieces is the offer I've brought today for Xonthal's Tower.
You offer a price on something that's priceless.
With that, she smiles and thinks for a moment, says, I am under the firm belief that everything has a price.
I don't disagree. But this would be something that I would need to converse with the rest of the scales before any decision is made.
As you say that, she kind of glances from you, nodding, and looks around at the rest of you and says, 50,000 gold pieces. And she reaches in this small bag behind her. She reaches in, pulling out 3 more items. You see her laying down 2 potions, as well as what appears to be a spell scroll. She sets them on the table in front of her. Says, that amount of gold pieces, as well as these 3 items here. She points to the first, this red potion you can clearly see is a potion of healing, but it's in a larger vial, and the red is just a bit deeper, a bit more vibrant. She says it is a potion of superior healing, very expensive. This one here, and you see it's a potion that has a large nail floating in the middle of it that's kind of crystalline. You can tell that the potion itself looks cold. She said this is a potion of frost giant strength, also somewhat difficult to get a hold of. And finally, this one, well, one of our agents found it, and we haven't had a use for it, or, well, the capability of using it, but maybe you shall. It's a scroll with the spell called Earthquake within it. Quite powerful from what I heard from scholars.
So, wait, you're offering us a potion, a scroll, and gold for an entire magical tower?
A large amount of gold.
Stone Skull's
Alright.
Stone Skull's
I
gonna
would
kick
say-
back and keep drinking.
Sorry. Dignoy says, I mean, I would call it a wish come true, but, you know, we just killed a genie the other day who was saying all sorts of things about wishes.
With that, she looks at you and says, well, creatures such as that cannot be trusted, and as you said, some members of the Zentarum can also, of course, not be trusted. But I assure you, I would not be making this offer unless I was fully ready to go through with it.
Yeah, if you didn't have the backing of your benefactor, we wouldn't be sitting here talking, would we?
With that, you see a sly grin crossing her face as she looks at you and says, exactly. That she looks over and says, I will let you all discuss it. I will have some more of your fine ale and go talk to this Jogath that I've heard some about here recently. Very nice fellow. I'll leave you to it then. And with that, she leaves the items on the table and saunters out of the room, heading back towards the tavern.
I mean, scroll of earthquake. What?
I mean, I knew Tara was gonna be excited about that. An earthquake scroll.
So I say that we agree to sell her the tower, but the deal is finalized in a month, and we tell McCath to go fucking loot the whole tower in that time. She can have the tower, we're just gonna keep everything in it. How's that?
So, if the Zent want it, it's clearly of value to them. I don't know.
I don't trust anybody that's offering us a piece of paper for a building.
Well, that's called a deed. That's pretty much every building. I don't trust mortgage loan originators.
Well, no, she was giving us a scroll thing. It's
Right,
just
I'm
a
just
piece
kidding.
of paper.
That dissolves when you use it.
Right? I mean...
You know what I say? I say we counter with the potions and the scroll and the 50,000 to lease it. You don't own it. You can use it, but it's ours. Like if we hear, that's our insurance policy. If we hear anything that we don't like coming out of there, we're shutting it down.
We hire bodyguards to stand watch. They can just enter it like a library.
No, I mean, they can do what they want. We keep our ears to the ground. Any crazy Zent activity coming from anywhere near that thing, we're cleaning house. So let them know. Because that's it. I don't trust them. A bunch of thieves. It's basically a cult.
I'll do whatever you say is best, Max.
The only reason I even entertain an idea of dealing with them is their network of spies, essentially. The amount of information that they have and could be of aid should they turn their ear to the upcoming fight. I don't think it's something we could pass up. Oh, damn. We're going to need to be in favor with them. You know what? We just went through the maze, cleared the Tower of Cultus, cleared virtually everything of value. We scoured the place. Well, there's information they could have. I say let's see. I mean, do we really believe? Should they what's worst case scenario? They double cross us, or use it for nefarious means. Okay, and we're coming back. We've already done it once, and we weren't as strong then. Yeah, I say we do it. Why not?
Okay.
Give them an interdimensional headquarters.
I still think we should make him beg for it. I'm a little bit tired of would-be
It's bad business to not
trying
counter.
to bend us over to
We gotta at
establish
least
something.
counter offer.
Oh, we need to make sure that what we ask in return.
Do you
Let's make a list.
If they don't want to give it to us, we walk away with one tower.
do you think she can get that potion in belt form?
In belt form? Yeah, maybe that's it. That's our counter. Well, you get 50 grand, plus this list of items. And of any people, the Zent are the ones that will be able to get it. They don't have it already. So let's make a list, boys. And ladies. So one thing a pop.
Sure.
Right? Well,
I mean, I'm okay with the potion or the scroll of earthquake,
yeah.
so
I mean,
that
that's
can be
not
my
bad.
one thing.
I want a couple potions of invisibility. Not even for me, like 2 of them. I'm sure they've got those laying around.
Stone Skull is looking for a belt of giant strength. This is a reoccurring
Okay.
theme this week, apparently.
Right.
This is the second time
Radar?
I've asked for that this week.
Hold on. I still have the list of stuff that I was looking for before.
Scott? Anything?
I've got a ring on layaway she can pick up for me.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, since we're all here,
Mm.
Stone Skull's going to reach into his pouch and pull out the bundle of daggers that are wrapped up in the blanket and just kind of unroll it on top of the table. And you guys see the dragon's tooth daggers with the emblem etched into the blade near the hilt and wrapped in black leather. There are 6 of them, 5 for us. There are 3 throwing daggers that he'll leave for, I'm guessing, probably Steve to take. And then he'll hold on to one of the daggers that he's going to take over to Joe.
Oh, that's all you want me for Joe, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Imagine
Keeps
I'm
the
just
rowdy customers at bay.
sliding it, like holding it near my forearm where the brace is going to go. Like, that'll be a perfect little spot for it.
All right. So what's y'all's plan?
I grab a dagger and cut my hand with it.
Why?
It's sharp.
Yeah,
Probably really sharp.
I'm not shaking that.
Yeah, no.
Shake it. Shake it, you win.
I won't do it. It's gross. Ew.
I just wave it in Max's face.
Stone Skull's going to stand up and walk over towards the door and give a loud whistle, trying to get Joe to come back here.
Okay. As you do so, your whistle echoing through. It takes a few minutes, but then you hear this kind of panting sound, and you see Joe opening the door as he looks in. He says, I'm assuming that was for me. What can I help you with? Is everything all right?
Come have a seat.
That he nods. You see him kind of wringing his hands as he moves over and sits down. Hope I didn't offend y'all. It wasn't my intention to do anything of the sort.
He immediately reaches to his side, pulls the dagger out, places it in front of Joe, and says, "This is for everything that you do here. You are as much of the scales as we are. And with that, we need your guidance to make sure we're making the right choice here."
That you see Joe initially looking at the dagger a bit, hesitantly, and then seeing it set down, he looks at it and kind of scrunches his eyes, looking back and forth, all of you staring at him. Says, "I don't know what to say. Thank you." He picks up the dagger, kind of looking at it, holding it in both his hands, kind of ceremoniously. Says, of course, anything I can help y'all with, I'm happy to do so. Just ask."
We, being a member of, being a scale, a member of the scales, you also provide an unbiased input, especially when it comes to, breaking kind of a tie here. We've been approached after having dispatched all the cultists from Zonthal's tower, been approached by the Zentarum with an offer to purchase it from us, promising aid, not only monetarily, but if I remember correctly, also, informationally, as an ally. Well, what do you think?
With that, he thinks for a moment and kind of asks for details. I assume you're telling him they're offering money and stuff for the tower.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I mean, open transparency with Joe. It's yeah, he's I don't know. It seems a valuable member of the team, if nothing else, and imagine him giving us honest feedback.
With that, Joe seems to think for a few moments and looks back up and he says, I don't know much about the Zentarum. I've heard of them, of course, mercenaries and such, but honestly, if you own a place and you want to sell it, if the price is right, then I'd go for it. Money's always good. Places can fall apart or be attacked, or who knows? Just like you captured it, it could be captured from you one day. Who knows? Money will be there until you spend it. Trying to think of what else he would say. He says, honestly, I can't speak too much of whether you should or shouldn't do it. I just know that back in the trade ward where I'm from, there's a lot of people of business and such that I grew up with, and one thing I learned is that you always haggle, always try to get as much as you can out of the deal, and if it truly is a Zentarum that you're working with and dealing with, I'd try to get as much as you could out of them. Should be able to afford it, right?
That was the general consensus. Well, thank you, and stop saying yours, it's ours, okay?
Daddy kind of nods. Says, of course, sorry. I'm from humble beginnings. I apologize. This is all very new to me.
So, you'll get used to it. We gotta look around. We all were too, or just we all were. And then just kind of nod, and say, you can get back to whatever you need to. We won't take up any more of your time.
With that, he nods and still picking up the dagger and still kind of holding it in two hands, kind of awkwardly. He nods again, says, "Of course, it's still real busy in there. But if you need anything, just holler. I'll take care of you."
Say, Stone Skull, did you tell him what it's made out of?
No.
I mean, can you tell?
I mean,
it's fairly obvious. This is a big ass tooth.
yeah. Yeah, like
Okay,
it's
cool.
in
I
the
just wanted
shape
to make
of
sure.
a tooth.
I didn't know if it was like the tooth that was ground down, or if it was like in the shape.
Oh
Okay.
no, yeah, it's still like in the shape. It's just narrowed and into like the edge of a blade, basically.
With that,
Alright,
Joe
that's what-
bows to all y'all and zooms back out, heading briskly back to the bar.
I like that guy.
Yeah. As long as the guests don't try to kill him,
Should
it'll be fine.
make sure that should anything happen to us, he's the one that takes care of this. Maybe make it official, make it his.
We could do that.
Yeah, I so we put a list together. We can track down Rion after the council meeting, or even tomorrow, once we get word of when the council is slated to meet next.
So, out of character, I see she's still here. Is she expecting us to speak to her again?
Oh, she got up and left.
Yeah, she went back to the bar, but she's expecting something.
Oh,
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's...
okay. I thought she left. Oh, shit, sorry.
Yeah.
No, she said she was going to go back to the bar and would wait for you to call her back after talking amongst yourselves.
Let's put our request down on paper. Give it to her and tell her that as long as these once they're fulfilled, then the deal stands. They can have their tower.
We should ask for a invested cut of future earnings off the tower.
Stone Skull will walk over and grab the paper and ink quills and ink and set them on the table for somebody else to write.
I imagine your giant hands holding these things. Like, I'm just watching you. Like, you gonna write that?
It's like clutching it in one hand. It's like this little tiny quill of or a little thing of ink and the quill in his hand. Gonna break
I'm
it.
imagining Stone Skull making a hand turkey now.
I imagine pulling out little reading glasses, like perching them on his nose, incidentally.
And then working on the hand turkey.
Then
Right.
working the hand turkey.
Yeah,
Amazing.
for sure. Sticking his tongue out, really getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll sit behind, grab the ink and write down 2 potions of invisibility, a potion of giant strength.
No, he wants a belt of
or
giant
belt,
strength.
sorry. Scratch. Belt.
They're offering him potion. He wants more power.
Yeah, for sure.
He wants all-time power.
Rogar,
Cloak of Displacement.
Cloak of Displacement. Tara, you get the scroll.
Yes.
Okay. And Ignali, the ring.
Yep.
Pay off the remaining debt for the ring and deliver it.
Yep.
Write down the name in the shop. And just kind of stand up and fold it neatly.
Stone Skull
I'll be
will
back in a second.
Stone Skull
Or you
will
want me to bring
motion
her
for
here?
her, to accompany him.
You move back in there, see Rian sitting there with a small mug of wine or ale or something, and she nods to you and sets it down and follows you back in, rejoining you in the room. As she moves back in, she looks around at all of you, Max sitting there with parchment and such, and kind of clasps her hand in front of her and says, "Well, what have you decided?"
We've decided that we're going to use your extensive network to help us track down a few things we need for the upcoming fight. In addition to your previous offer, slide the parchment across to her on the table. We need this list fulfilled and delivered, and then the tower is yours.
With that, she picks up the parchment, and you see her looking over it, and there's a very subtle change where she seems to take on this poise of very businesslike and such, and kind of reading across it and nodding and looking at the items and kind of scrunching her nose up, and then looks back at you and says, "Well, some of these items are quite rare, quite hard to get hold of. I have no doubt we could possibly find them, but the
Perhaps
Zentarum
we
are..."
can find you another tower, if that's not the one that you need.
That she
Yeah.
kind of
Towers
shrugs.
of Zampo, kind of rare.
Yeah,
That she nods.
from what I understand, there's only one of them.
So we understand what we would be getting out of this deal, and that it is quite rare and quite expensive, I suppose, which I thought that our previous offer, as well as what I was willing to negotiate up to, would be more than sufficient for that. He glances back down at the list again. I will offer you one final counteroffer. I can find 3 of these items and procure them for you. I will... She kind of motions down to the items on the table. I will throw these in with the deal, but these items already would total more than what I offered before just by themselves. I think a fair deal would be the items, as well as the ones here on the table, for the tower. What say you?
The full list, and the gold stays in your pocket.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm good at those.
Hopefully.
You're slipping, Max. Look at how low that roll is.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
It's terrible.
At that, she frowns, looks back down at the list. As I can find the belt, one of these potions. The scroll, already acquired, obviously. The cloak will take some doing, but I think we can procure it. This ring, though, I'm not familiar with. You will have to give me some time to figure out its worth and how difficult it would be to obtain. But
Well, lucky
I'm
for you,
just like,
we've already
well, it's on
found
this
where it
shop
is.
on this street. So there's half that work for you.
that
The rest
she
of the work,
nods.
it just comes from your purse.
She nods, says, I will take your counteroffer to my superiors, and hopefully we will have a deal. My superiors very much want that tower, you see, so... With that, she nods, standing back up, says... If nothing else, she motions once again to the 3 items, this potion of superior healing, the potion of Frost Giant Strength, as well as the Scroll of Earthquake. She motions to them. Take those, and even if we do not find a consensus, that will be a token of good faith between the Scales and the Zentarum.
So, good faith indeed. We, we will remember that gesture.
That she nods, says, very well. I will get back to you as soon as possible after I converse with my superiors. Once again, it is an honor to meet all of you and speak with you face to face, and I do hope that we have a good working relationship going forward.
It's an honor indeed. Let your benefactors know that the Scales would also like to meet them in person. Nothing personal, but we do like knowing who we're dealing with.
With that, she smiles, says, that is unlikely due to the nature of our work, but I will see if I can manage anything.
At least pass the message along.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
She nods to each of you in turn once again, keeping the parchment with your list of goodies that you were trying to acquire, and departs from the room. You see her checking off and turning to the right, this time obviously heading out back into the city of Waterdeep.
I lean back and put my feet up on the table and look over at Max and say, why is it that more and more of our would-be allies in the wonderful struggle against the resurrection of Tiamat are two-faced bitches?
It's in times of struggle when the scum really show their faces.
Also, speaking of odd people, what do you know about an old man with 7 gold canaries, I think it was?
7 gold canaries.
I can't say. That rings a bell.
Yeah, peculiar fellow. I had a sight of him the other day.
7 gold canaries, you say?
7, yes.
5 golden rings.
Do they have a tree? Perhaps with pear on it?
He did have a tree.
Was there a bird in there too?
No. That would
so.
mean 8 birds. Yeah, just I guess we wait or take part in the festivities. I can't think of a city that's safer to do so than one with a mythal protecting us against the people that are coming for us, or the creatures anyway.
All right, so jumping in back into the tavern for right now. Do y'all have other stuff you want to do, or
What? It's still during the day, right? We
yeah,
should.
it's afternoon.
Do we know when the council is willing to meet with us?
Not as of now, no.
Okay. Why don't we go and see Blagothkus then?
I think that'd be a great idea.
Since we have some downtime before the council's ready, we can do that. And then when we get back, if they're still not ready, we'll just postpone for the morning. And then...
Or we could party with giants tonight.
We could do that.
You know what I mean?
We can party at either location.
Yeah.
Thanks to Joe Gas.
Yes. All right, so that's the plan then. We're going to go up and see Blagothkus and pay him a visit.
All right. So as you're all rising from the table, planning on heading down to the south towards where this floating castle was, everybody give me perception checks.
I don't have advantage on these without my shield. Just sad. Oh, never mind. We're good.
All of you hear a voice booming through this building. It's boisterous and loud, and though you sense a bit of agitation into it, it's still kind of joyous. You hear this voice booming through. Yes, I know that the scales reside here. Why the devil would I be here otherwise? I'm here to see my friends. You all recognize a familiar voice. The representative of the Order of the Gauntlet. Onthar Froom's voice booming from the north of you in the tavern.
Ooh.
Hi, Dad.
Onthar! I'm just gonna, again, I imagine I got some pipes. I'm gonna lace a little bit of magic in there. Just boom his voice. Back here!
With that, a few moments of silence and such, and then you hear the rattle of obvious sounds of armor. As you see Onthar, this kind of stubby man, appearing in the room as he comes around, and with open arms, he kind of greets all of you. He says, I had heard all of you had make it back, but couldn't get... damned fiends to leave me long enough to go see my friends. How did things go? We haven't got much news yet.
I'm gonna, have a big smile from meeting him and slowly let the smile kind of fade. And motion over to Ignali and said, we have what's left of the mask. And the city, the village of Xanthal's Tower has been razed by another dragon that we dispatched. I'll just kind of point over to Ignali and the mask.
I kind of just plop it down on the table, but I specifically look away from him.
With that, you see Onthar, the very wide grin that he normally has on his face when he's speaking with friends, kind of fades a bit as he walks over, looking over the mask. You see him, his gauntleted hand, kind of just pushing at it, and shakes his head. He says, well, I suppose we knew what the possibilities could be before we sent you there. It's unfortunate. Know what this means to us, though. It could be a good thing. Maybe they don't have something they need now that it's broken in twain, but, well, he kind of stands up and shakes his head, kind of rubbing the back of his head, and says, shame. Shame what happened to the village. There's been too many stories like that here recently. Cult is getting more and more outgoing, it seems, by the day. I hope that soon we'll be able to move forward with the attack. But with that, he looks around and shakes his head. Says, well, I didn't come here to bring the mood down. That wasn't my intention. I have news for all of you, actually. With that, he sits down, and as Stone Skull's reaching forward for the tanker, Onthar yanks it right out from under his hand, pours himself a glass, and sets it back down in front of Stone Skull, taking a long drag of it and setting it down. He says, there's been news around the city. There's actually supposed to be a celebration here quite shortly, within the next couple days. Word of your deeds with that dragon and the feast you provided for the city seems to have spread, and, well, your notoriety has gone up, if that was possible from before. But yes, they're having a parade for you, I believe, and I'm glad you made it back in one piece, because you're supposed to be the guest of honor to said parade. I was sent here. I decided to come let you know beforehand, before it was sprung at you at the council meeting. Hope that's all right with you. And me personally, I'm not a big fan of them, but, well, might as well take the glory while you can.
If, the city wishes to honor us, we'll take it as the greatest compliment one can bestow on us. I agree, I'm not one for all the praise, but if that's what the city wants and needs, who am I to say anything else?
With that, he kind of raises his glass, nodding to you. He says, "That's right." He kind of points a finger, waggling it. And he says, these people that can't really protect themselves, they need heroes to look up to, ones that they can see with their own eyes, ones that they know will protect them. It's something, he kind of glances over at Ignalia. He says, the Order of the Gauntlet, our paladins are usually very much in front of the people's eyes, so it's something I've gotten used to, but I can understand if it's a bit awkward for you, but I assure you it'll all be fine, well and good. Just a bunch of pomp and circumstance, lots of adoring fans and such. It won't last more than an hour or two, and you'll be able to go about your business, but it'll be good for the people here.
When is this?
With that, he thinks as he drinks one more time. He says, I think it's happening in 2 days. I'll be able to hammer out the details. There is another council meeting being called. I think will be happening either tomorrow or the day after, to get news about what happened at Zonthal's Tower, as well as go over some recent developments. And you see him kind of glancing up at the ceiling, obviously looking down to the south, towards where Beglothgus's flying citadel is. Says, didn't expect them to just waltz right in above Waterdeep like that. Caused quite a stir and a panic for a few moments, honestly. But it worked out. These Waterhavians really don't get too excited for much.
It's a sight for sure. We're gonna go and rekindle our relationship with King Blagoscus later on this afternoon.
Then he nods, says, very well, very well. Well, he kind of finishes off his drink. He says, well, I just wanted to get some news to you. There is some more, he kind of rolls his eyes, business that I have to take care of before the council meeting. It seems like it's going to be a big one. Thinks for a moment. Might not have seen it if you teleported straight back in, but Waterdeep is surrounded currently by armies.
We're mobilizing?
That he nods. He says, it seems like it's going to be happening soon, based on what I'm understanding, of course. The Open Lord, Learl, is tight-lipped as ever, not giving any finite details, but I've been told to get the paladins and clerics ready, and it seems based on the mobilization that everyone else is as well, so I think, kind of leans back in his seat, I think you should enjoy the rest of this day catching up with old friends and preparing yourselves as necessary. Could very well be the last time we see this city for some time.
Kind of nod, more of a somber attitude. Yes, it's the time's been coming.
Danny nods. It's about time to, in my opinion, but either way, enjoy the rest of your day here. I'll make sure messengers arrive to you, letting you know the precise time of the next meeting. Of course, I have to have you there with all your news and insight. But be ready for a war council, I would think.
Just kind of reach up and give him, the clasp, on his forearm. It'll be good for all of us to finally take the fight to the cult.
Daddy nods, his grin returning in full now. He says, aye, it will be. And we'll take it right straight to them, I promise you. Daddy stands up from his chair, pushing it out, looking around, kind of nodding to each of you, kind of lingering on Ignalia a bit, nodding to her again. Says, well, very well. If any of you need me, I'll be surrounded by bureaucrats as well as paperwork in the palace, but do enjoy yourselves.
Know that you can always drink here for free. You need to get away.
As long as it's not from my tankard.
With that still big grin on his face, he says, "You might regret that, but we'll survive this battle first, and then I'll take you up on that offer."
Amen to that.
He bows to all of you, swirling his cloak behind him as he exits out of the tavern.
Did you see how he yanked that mug out of my hand?
I'm surprised he had fingers to drink out of it with. Just
A
break
lot.
them right clean off.
A lot of restraint. Lots of restraint.
It's a good thing we got plenty more where that came from.
I look at him. Don't punch my dad.
Right. Yeah. The two of you don't spend a whole lot of time together, huh?
Not these days. Not with all that's going on.
Well, if it's any consolation, I'm glad you're here with us.
It's nice to hear.
Should we go to the Citadel?
Yeah, we should.
All right.
I'll start ferrying folks up.
Before we jump into that, can we take a 5-minute break?
Oh shit, yeah. It's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick break. I need a drink anyway after
Same.
Voice Day on Thar. So yeah, let's take a 5-minute break real quick, and then we'll come back for the
Rion into Anthar. That's the key right there.
Yeah.
It's a workout.
Yeah, a little bit. All right.
All right, so we're going to step away, take a 5-minute break. When we come back, cover any quick news, jump into the game immediately, finish out this last 45 minutes or an hour or so that we have left. May go a little longer because it might go until 11 o'clock. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
That works.
You're gonna
so well
give
last time.
the scroll of Earthquake.
Yep. For this, Scott,
to
I would,
Rion.
to make your dream live, I could definitely sacrifice that.
in the exact opposite way we imagined.
It is completely not right. But
All right, let's do it.
Ugh.
All right, so as y'all start to think of clever ways to use the items you've gotten so far, you head back out into the city of Waterdeep. I think I could find a token for a flying fortress now. If I B-17 flying fortress.
Yep, make it out of ice.
Yeah, just an ice fucking big ass warplane. Alright, so y'all were back up north. Just heading straight for the Citadel. Anything else y'all want to do, or just heading straight there?
Yeah, let's go ahead straight
Just
there.
head there.
Okay. Alright, so you head... Oops, double click. Once again, it's kind of in this just area around the Castle Waterdeep. Once again, about 300 feet up above you. But you're able to, through various means, get everything up there. It's going to be kind of difficult to get Stone Skull up there via carrying him. You are pretty strong,
You
but
could enlarge,
fine.
reduce, and then carry me up.
yeah, just reduce him down.
How much do you weigh?
Yes. Let me look.
He's a beefy boy.
Yeah, he's not tiny, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not like everybody else. I'd kind of hold on to it, but like, no, you hold on to me because it's gonna take every bit of my oomph to get your big ass over there.
Yeah, he's close to 300 pounds.
I think I can do that. I can
Hey.
fly with a heavy load.
Yeah.
It should be 500. And it wouldn't be pleasant.
Alright.
And thankfully for you, all of his gear is in the bag of holding, so he's carrying nothing really on his person.
Oh, and I would never be able to carry you if I was wearing armor. If I was wearing my armor,
Yes. Forget it.
not a prayer.
Forget it.
All right, now that I have gone back, opened up our previous Roll20, so I have notes in front of me again. All right, so after ferrying people up, you start to notice immediately as you land back up on Skyreach Castle, as it is called, that was owned by Blagothius. You look around and see not much has changed, except the accoutrements adorning the fortress. As you look around, you see that you vaguely remember being on this castle, and you remember there were some very large ballista that were manned by big old giant gate tower ogres. You see that they have doubled the amount of ballista on this castle. As you move around in the large courtyard where you had spent some time there, you see that there are many giants here, ogres, and you see in the middle of all of it a large kind of icy looking throne sitting up in the middle of it. As you move forward, seeking out Blagothius, you're able to see the large frost giant.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
90% sure it's frost giant.
Yep.
Yeah,
Don't have that in
for
front of
sure.
me.
Maybe he has a belt.
No,
for
he's
us.
not a frost giant. He's a cloud giant.
I think it's cloud
Ooh,
giant. Yeah,
Yes,
cloud
Cloud
giant.
Giant.
Yeah, good call.
Blagothius. There's
I know
there's
he's
my
cloud
pretty
giant.
boy.
I remember.
Yeah, he's a cloud
from-
giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see this huge hulking
SKT.
figure of Blagothius in his golden armor, golden helm, this extremely large morning star that you remember seeing him with, resting on the kind of on the ground, leaning against his throne. You see him kind of barking out orders and such in his deep guttural voice. But as he catches sight of you all, he looks over, kind of tilting his head to the side, squinting his eyes, and then his eyes open up as he sees you standing up and kind of waving with this massive hand towards all of you to come closer. As you all move even closer, you see him just shoving a couple ogres out of the way. You see two stone giants that you remember meeting, whose names are Hulda and Wigloff, that were accompanying Blagothius at a few times. You actually met them in or saw them in a small room, but never went up and talked to them. But they turned out to be some of Blagothius's friends, from what you can tell here. As you get closer to him, the Cloud Giant, as well as the Stone Giants, moving the ogres and other people out of the way, clearing a path for you all. He opens his arms up wide in greeting, looking down to you in that just deep, booming voice, where it's a normal speaking voice for him, but it's almost hard on the ears to everybody else.
Thunder.
Mhm. Need another drink?
All right.
He looks up and he says, "Ah, my old friends. It's good to see you again."
As is you, Your Highness. It's fortunate that we would, it's fortuitous that we see each other again, and especially under the circumstances.
With that, he nods, and you see kind of a grave look crossing his face. Says, "Yes, would be better if it was in other ones, but, well, at least I was able to make it here." Apparently, you see him kind of looking down, and as you were all flying up, one thing you did notice, true to Onthar's words, as you got high above the city, looking past the walls, you could see just waves and waves of armies, tents and encampments set up all around, completely surrounding on the northern, eastern, and southern sides of Waterdeep, up against the ocean, where just these massive armies, different colors being flown, all these different ones just intermingling amongst themselves. He says, apparently on the eve of battle, it seems, which works just fine with me, what with how much work it took to unite the giants in this cause. You would think they were all stone giants, as hard as their heads are sometimes, but we were able to work out our differences for at least this, knowing that the dragons were organizing against us, and our ancient enemies will not be allowed to pass in that, especially not to bring their queen back.
No, let a big smile cross my face, and so yes, I was hoping that the council with the rest of the giant clans would go well, and noticing by the armaments alone on the outside of Skyreach, it looks like you're more prepared than any.
With that, he nods, says, You may not have seen it, but there are many of our number intermingled with your armies now, working with their generals and such to work out fine details, so that we don't step on any of you, of course. That would be tragic.
Yeah, you would be doing far more than just stepping on toes, I imagine.
Daddy kind of smiles and nods, says yes. Well, I heard that you've been busy since we last met.
Oh, we have. We've unified the council and members and added more to the council of men in Waterdeep. We've also put down as many of us in Dragonkin, but it seems the cult are getting desperate.
That he nods as I've heard story of your adventures thus far, between venturing all the way to the north to venturing out to other places, taking out dragons, helping small elf folk and such, and even venturing out, I believe recently, based on the news that was brought to us when we arrived, you were off to the east. We were told we may not see you for a few days, but I'm glad to see all of you back in one piece.
What does Stone Skull, based on his upbringing, what does he recall of giants and dragons? He certainly recalls that they're bitter enemies, right?
Yeah, you know the basic lore. You don't know the reasoning behind it or anything like that, but you do know that giants and dragons have been at war for a very long time.
With my insight roll, Stone Skull is going to look at Blagothgus, and speaking in giant, will look straight at him and say, "What took your people so long to respond to the threat on the Sword Coast?"
Ooh, spicy.
With that, you see Blagothgus frowning as he looks down at you, and he responds in kind and giant. He says, "Stone Skull, you may have lived among giants or know something of them, but you were not one. It is difficult for the different clans to work together. It is even more difficult to raise an army among these clans. I was able to convince my kin of the Cloud Race fairly easily to join this cause, but though dragons were involved and word had been traveling all across our lands that this Queen of Dragons was being resurrected, hesitation kept crawling through their minds and slowing their steps. It took drastic measures, unfortunately, to convince them. One of our villages to the north was attacked. We lost several good men there, good stone giant folk. But once that happened, once the threat was brought to our doorstep, they finally realized what was going on and agreed to join the cause."
And Stone Skull will kind of look down and say, "It wasn't the giants that have lost a lot in the eve of the dragons attacking. With Tiamat coming, it's going to be worse. We need the assistance of all of the giants if we are to stop this threat to our people."
With that, you see Blagothgus nodding and kind of sits back down into this icy throne here in the middle of this courtyard and kind of sighs and says, "Yes, it is an undertaking that is happening right now. These armies, this city, these people, this land is all coming together. All these different races, these different peoples, ones that have had dealings, sometimes unpleasant ones, with each other in the past, have come together. I see no reason for our kind to be excluded for that. That is why I've brought my kin here to the city where we were summoned some time ago, now that we've all reached a consensus.
Stone Skull will break out of Giant and look over to the others and say, Blagothkus honors us by bringing the Giants to join in battle. We hope that we can reach an end to this before more cities and more villages fall.
No, we have to hope that His Highness and the rest of his giant can save some of the fighting for us.
That he smiles, says, "No promises."
Once we, let him know, like, we just got back into Skyreach, or into Waterdeep. Once we saw Skyreach here, we knew we had to come and say hello. The council's meeting once again. We'll have more direction, more of a war council, an understanding of when and how we're going to approach this well of dragons.
With that, Blagothkus nods, and you see him kind of scratching his chin. He says, "Yes, I have spoken to a few of the members of this council. One has been speaking with us directly, letting us know about a council meeting that'll be happening soon. This Sir Istaval, it's a adequate sort. Apparently used to be a dragon slayer, so I think I'm happy to call him a friend of mine."
Yeah, we're lucky enough to call him a friend of ours as well.
That he nods, says, "But yes, as far as this council is concerned, we were actually just discussing the logistics of it." And you see him kind of standing up and kind of towering, 30 feet up above your heads. He looks down, he says, "Your palaces and castles are not accommodating to us giant folk. So we were working out the logistics of getting us into the council, as, of course, the giants will be a part of it going forward. We need to be included for these war plans that are about to happen." As he says that, he kind of turns around. You see him, this mirror is sitting next to the Morning Star, and it's only about 4 feet tall, but sitting on little, legs and such onto it. He kind of motions to that. He says, "Supposedly, I'll be able to see and hear through this thing inside the council chambers when the time comes. So do expect me to be among you, one way or another, during the next council session."
Well, some form or fashion, we'll make sure that we, make sure you are included. It's the least we can do to show appreciation for your joining our cause.
As you say that, you see Blagothkus kind of raising his chin a bit, and he says, "We will be included whether they want to or not. We are not idle soldiers to be commanded about. I will command my people and lead them as we go assault this cult, but we will be there."
Excellent. Is there, any kind of add to character, is there anything else we just want to come up and chat? Are we planning on leaving?
Yeah, just hanging out would be okay, I think. I don't think we really had any other plans for the day. We're waiting on tomorrow for the council meeting, and the parade thing that's happening in 2 days.
Yeah, let's say our goodbyes and head out.
All right. So as you're standing around talking to Blagothkus, you see that the courtyard around you, which was completely a bustle as you made your way onto Skyreach Castle, had kind of come, once again, to a standstill. You saw that there was a bit of a queue lining up around you obviously giants and other creatures wanting to go up and speak with Blagauthus, but him having his attention solely on all of you during that short time. As you bid your farewell to Blagauthus, him reassuring you once again that we'll speak soon, if nothing else, in the council chambers at the next meeting. As you move away, you see a horde of giants moving up to speak with Blagauthus, going over battle plans and rationing and all the other military woes and concerns that you would expect out of a large army of giants that are joining in this band. But with that, you all make your way back down to ground level. Any particular places or anything you're wanting to go to, or head back home and chill, or?
Like, me personally, I don't know, it's backwards. But I feel like I'm naked without no armor. I don't really want to be out. I'm scared.
So back to what are we calling our house?
I mean, the House of Scales. I mean, the Hall of Justice is too good.
It is. It is. I just feel like it's already been taken. I don't know.
I don't know where you get that idea.
Yeah, I guess we'll just head back there. Because drinking there is free. And Stone Skull is all about drinking. So, well, free in terms of he doesn't have to pay money out of his pocket. It just randomly shows up because somebody else does the accounting for the guild.
All right, so after you get back down, you make your way through the city. You find an odd situation arises a couple of times. You were actually almost mauled by people running up to meet you and greet you and thank you and such. You're now beginning to be recognized on sight here in Waterdeep. After your efforts with the dragon meat and dragon steaks and such that you did. Onthar definitely seemed to be telling the truth when he mentioned that your notoriety was spreading quite greatly. But even with the masses of people, you're able, especially with Stone Skull's help of being able to walk through people quite literally, you're able to make it back to the guild hall that you call home. As you make your way inside, you see it's still very busy. Everyone is, all of your employees and such, Joe sitting behind the bar, or standing behind the bar, serving drinks. But plenty of people still out there. Give me a good amount of business. Joe sees you walk in and everything and comes up to greet you. He says, a couple things for you, if you have a couple seconds. And he holds up 2 pieces of parchment. He says, a messenger came by to drop this for all of you. I think it's a council business based on who it was, and hands it off to you. He says, I did a quick earnings list for the past couple days, just so you could see what your investment has brought forward, and hands you another piece of parchment. He runs back behind the bar, starts serving drinks.
Yeah, just nod him thanks, and then head back to the impromptu meeting / storeroom.
Yeah, I think this is becoming like our meeting room.
Yeah, it's also the entrance to Terrace Cave.
Right.
Yeah, because like the small room upstairs, I feel like is more of like a morning sit down, have a drink and figure out what to do for the day. And this is like an official, like, if we have guests or, people that are stopping by with questions, this is where we would bring them.
Well, the way I'm looking at it too is the upstairs would be more common area. People kind of come and go, and this is our meeting room.
Yeah.
The boardroom.
Well, the upstairs are all of our private bedrooms.
Yeah, but if someone's coming up to meet us, we can meet them up there.
Yeah, that's true.
This is our jam.
Yeah.
I need one of y'all to roll me a D100 plus 40.
You want to do it?
Not me. I'm rolling low. You know what? I'm not touching nothing.
I'll do it.
Hey!
Not
Alright.
Yeah! Unless you
Go
wanted to
ahead
roll low,
and-
which sucks.
Go ahead
right?
and roll me 4d10.
4d10.
Yeah, 4d10. Ends.
Back on my character now. 4d10.
4d10. Let's see. Alright.
I roll 4d10.
Two. Alright. So as you're looking over these two pieces of parchment, the first one you see is a familiar script and a missive for a council meeting of the Council of Waterdeep that will be meeting tomorrow morning. See, the time is actually a little bit later in the day, you assume because of the haste of this being called. But at the same time, you feel off, based off the information you've gotten about the armies and the War Council being brought up by multiple people, that probably most of the council is already in Waterdeep, so they'll be able to do it. So mid-morning tomorrow will be the next Council of Waterdeep. On the second parchment, the one that Joe said was the earnings for the tavern, you see some calculations and such that you have to read over for a few seconds before you start to understand them. But at the very bottom, there's a quick total. You see that this is a total for 2 days. 2 days of
2 days.
profit. You see that there's arbitrary numbers of subtraction and stuff for things like more ale, food costs, labor costs, things of that nature are all subtracted out. And then there's just a profit margin of how much money is all in the black for the tavern here in the guild hall. It is 180 gold pieces.
Oh.
Wow. 180 in 2 days.
Place is popping.
Hmm.
Doesn't seem like much, I guess, to y'all, but
But that,
For a
like,
business,
doing the
that's
math, yeah,
really
that's
good.
pretty fantastic.
I say we lower the prices a little bit.
No.
I think we have to expand.
I think
No,
we.
you don't. Max doesn't get decision making in business.
You don't want the paladin making business
No.
decisions for you?
No,
Run this thing like the Red Cross.
And Joe says.
absolutely not.
And Joe
Joe,
says.
keep doing what you're doing.
Joe says, imagine how much magical marketing could be had. Using magic to market the guild hall.
We need to bring somebody in to animate the dragon on top of this.
That wouldn't be terrifying at all right now.
Are we
That
just
sounds
The
like a
dragon just
perfect
leans
idea.
down like, "Come drink at the Hall of Justice." Bro.
great? We're gonna be the tourist trap of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's so cheesy. I know, but you have to do it if you go to Waterdeep.
The scales and flagon or something like that. You know what I mean? Oh man, there's something good in there.
Have a museum of all your stuff built on another level, or that'll be the Cave of Horrors. Like you venture in there to see the heroics of the group.
Speaking
Ooh.
Make it
of,
full on cheesy.
how much time do we have?
Charge for
Can I go
tickets.
down there and dig some more?
I mean, you can go dig some more. So you know, at this point, it's about 2 or 3 bells in the afternoon. So you still have the late afternoon, evening to yourselves. If there's anything else you would like to do, so if Tara wanted to go dig around some, expand the Cave
Yes,
of Horrors.
that's what I'll be doing.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything you would like to do here in the city of Waterdeep during this evening time, or just drink and be merry, enjoy your profitable business, go to
That.
bed and prepare?
We get to do kind of like a, we get to be a little bit of celebrity action in our own bar.
Yeah, let's go hang out in the bar. And then by morning fall, Solmskull's gonna go and get his cloak and get all fancy looking for the council meeting. But tonight we drink.
I imagine every once in a while.
You
Drink.
cut off.
Do what, Tara?
You cut off.
I I said I imagine that every once in a while Tara will come up covered in dust and get a drink.
Okay. All right. So as the
Born in my own tavern.
Yeah, I'm going to approach Joe and just say, Joe, I'm going to need a favor from you. All right, you've been doing an awful great job, but there's a couple things I want to discuss with you, if you're amenable to that.
Joe looks at you and kind of nods, still that kind of sheepish, wide-eyed look on his face that he normally has when speaking to any of you. He says, "I'm happy to help. Anything I'm, capable of doing, of course I'll do. Owe y'all a lot for giving me this opportunity, of course. So, yeah, sure, I can hear you out."
All right, I say, number one, that, and I point at his face. Stop that. You're one of us now. I don't need you looking up to me or anything like that. Just treat me like, your sister. You got a sister? Joe, do you have relatives?
Does Joe have relatives?
Instant backstory, Havoc.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, what do you mean you didn't think this through?
Just
Listen.
add water.
Just add water.
I mean, I could do one
Joe,
of
tell
those
me
real quick.
exactly. How much do you weigh? Like, what?
What is your exact weight? What are your
Yeah, your
measurements
exact
so we
weight.
can get you a set of armor, okay?
Yeah,
So
we need him right now.
Yeah, so I start with that, and I tell him to, not be so religious about addressing at least me, but probably everyone. I slap, I'm going to say 100 gold into his hand and tell him to use it as he sees best to invest. And then I suggest, patio space.
Daddy
and then
nods.
kind of go on a tangent on several other items. And then at some point I'll just send a note to my, whatever the closest church I attend is.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Joe does his best. You can tell that it's definitely going to be an adjustment with you all claiming him as one of your own and counting him as one of the scales, where he was just a guy who happened to be employed into some decorating and stuff from the field ward, who just got here and was in the right place at the right time. So he's doing his best to try to fit in and such. I don't have a good backstory or anything for Joe, so I'll develop that, I guess, before next session, since that's apparently going to be a thing now.
We need to do that. She's basically just saying, be chill.
Nope, I'm doing it. All right,
Also,
so
check your messages also.
oh God. You see, yeah, he listens to everything you request. He's very hesitant about the last thing. He doesn't seem too sure of himself there.
I will take
But he
care of
doesn't
it.
say anything.
It'll be fine.
Maybe, but all right. So with that, speaking with Joe and everyone else moving in about their various tasks of drinking and performing and being merry and enjoying yourself, all of you, in the back of your minds, as you're sitting around enjoying yourselves, looking across this guild hall, this place, this home that you've acquired for yourselves, this group of adventurers that you've come to know and love as your friends and as your family. At the back of your mind, you all realize that this could all be gone. Everything in the city could be gone. Everything on the Sword Coast and Faerun as a whole could be gone if what you're planning, if what tomorrow's meeting is going to bring about, fails. And you know that, based on recent events, based on everything you've done for this council and for the people of Waterdeep, that you will be instrumental in this, one way or another, and that you will have to go forward with that resting on your shoulders. But for tonight, at least, you can somewhat rest easy, relax, drink, have a good time with fans and followers and friends surrounding you for the evening. And that is where we're going to end the session for the evening.
We can't. Okay, we can end it. I was going to ask how charismatic Stone Skull is with all of the followers.
He grunts at him a few times and everybody loves it.
Sounds right.
Yeah,
Get a
I'm going
plus 10
around the
on that.
bar telling everyone, when you get the opportunity, go to Stone Skull and ask him how he got a sword.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It is just a night. You see at one point that Stone Skull's like sitting at one end of the bar, kind of leaning against the wall, and there's like 20 people surrounding him just listening to this story.
Oh man, no, every time somebody new comes up, he starts back over from the beginning. Oh, hold on. I gotta make
No,
sure for context.
So every time somebody new comes up, the story starts at a different place with a different person. Like he's not telling the same story every time. So like it starts to
that's so
confuse the people that are sitting around him. They're like, "Wait, no, that's not what you told us. You told us this."
Everyone gets more and more confused.
Uh-huh.
As he gets more and more inebriated, the story just gets wilder and wilder.
Like I said, you're able to have a good time, party, have a good night before possibly the last night. Who knows?
Within the
But
city.
yeah, within the city as far as you know. But that is where we're going to go ahead and end the session. Until next week.
All right. Say bye to
Needs
stream.
write a backstory.
Bye, stream.
Bye, stream.
Bye, stream.
Later, stream.